Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL Salah to preview Game Week 21. Abdul, pleasure to have you back on the channel. And this is a week where I'm so interested to hear your thoughts and how you're currently contemplating your decisions for the upcoming game week in relation to your team, of course, but also like captaincy. It's such a big one this week. You had a good week last week, a green arrow again. Into the top million now. I know it's slow progress, but it's progress nonetheless. And you seem to do this. You like, I don't know, maybe it's just since I've sort of known you, but you kind of don't get off to the best of starts, and then you come back pretty quickly in the second half of the season. And 900k right now, is that the worst rank to be at with the team set up as well as yours is?
I think it's at a kind of, I wouldn't say a respectable rank, but I think it's at a position where I can get to a respectable rank by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I think the last two seasons I've done this, I've had a really, really poor start. As I've said before on previous videos, this is the worst start I've ever had. So from being ranked like 4 million in Game Week 9 to 900k now, pretty happy with that. And I think, it's with all the chips left to play and with the assistant manager, and I've talked about the triple captain, I think hopefully I should try. I mean, I'd say now that, I can get a top 100k, but like if you asked me at the start of the season, like, if I would have settled for that, I would have said like, no way. But I think now you've got to look at the position you're in, and I think that's what I've got to aim for now.
Yeah. I feel like you can do better than that, to be honest. I'm not even just saying that to be nice. I feel like there's quite a lot of the season to go in terms of points. I don't know about this, but there must be more points available in the second half of the season just because of doubles and also with the assistant manager chip. And you've not used any of your chips yet either, so you're in a good spot. And as you say, I don't know in terms of how far you are away from the top 10k or 50k in terms of points, but 5 to 10 points a week, that's all you really need. Doesn't sound unbelievable. So it doesn't sound completely unrealistic. I know it's hard, but there we go. Your team's on the screen right now. Did pretty well last week. To be honest, thanks to one man in particular, and Burmo he's been a crazy good hold for you. I know you benched him for the Chelsea return, and he had a couple of blanks, but 7 last week and then 19. Well, 7 2 weeks ago and then 19 last week is absolutely massive.
Yeah, and I think the best thing about that was that, from the last, I'd say, from Game Week 16, he's been sold by, I think, it was approximately like over 1 million managers. So his ownership was really low, the lowest it's been in a long while as well. So that really helped him being such a low ownership. So yeah, I was really happy with that, especially since I benched JOAO PEDRO for Sar. So I definitely needed that in Burmo Hall. And yeah, I was delighted with that. That's pretty much what gave me the green arrow, really.
Very strong, very strong. Before we look into your team for next week, just tell the viewers, how many free transfers do you have? And did you make any transfers last week?
So I've got 2 free transfers. I had 2 free transfers last week, and I bought in Chris Wood. Finally, the guy who's been haunting me all season. And he did what he does. He got a goal and 2 bonus, so happy with that. And this week I'm actually looking at saving again. I know I've got a few issues there in terms of I've got Wood and Semenyo who haven't got the best fixtures, and I've also got JOAO PEDRO who's now an injury doubt. So he's twisted his ankle during a training session. So we've not got a proper prognosis on that. Just words from the manager saying that he's probably not going to make I think it's the FA Cup game. Is it against Watford, I think.
I will find out as you're talking.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm on holiday, so I've not been as indulged as I usually am. But I know he's got a cup game midweek, and he's not likely to make that. So, and then the games are on. So the next deadline's on Tuesday. Brighton play on Thursday, so I don't think we'll get a definitive kind of answer on him. So what I'll probably just do is play him. And then I've got Wood there at first on the bench. I mean, and I know he's got Liverpool at home, but really Wood with a home game isn't the worst option in the world. He's on penalties. He's tends just to find a way to score. So yeah, despite the JOAO PEDRO injury scare, I'm still looking at saving this week.
He's playing Norwich away. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to be playing, given that he's got a knock.
Norwich, that was it. Norwich.
Sadly, not against his old club.
I
Maybe
knew
he would
the
have
other
tried to be fit for it. Yeah. But I guess that's the great thing about having 8 attackers, and especially given João Pedro's price. I mean, I know we want a lot from our strikers in general, but we have to remember like he is 5.7 million, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's important to like kind of categorize them in the same way you would a Semenyo or a Sarr. Like you don't, these players don't have to score every single week, and you can just bench them, and it's absolutely
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
So
totally. I think his price makes him an easy keep. I mean,
yeah,
if he was like an Isaac or somebody, you're thinking, you've got the game you can choose in, and a game a few weeks later at the weekend, so you possibly could be missing 2 games. Then they become like a sell territory. But at his price, yeah, he's a keep.
and I also think like your advice and other people that we've had on the channel over the past couple of weeks has been very sound, and I think we've seen the results of that really. In that, when you have a player at that price, that you're never going
Mm.
to be in a rush to sell him, and he is still a good pick. And
Yeah,
yeah, he blanked a few times in the easier fixtures, but I think yeah, you said, and managers like Bakar and others on the channel also said, just keep him and play him, and
yeah,
he'll be fine, or bench him. Doesn't matter. He's not going to go crazy, but yeah, he can return in any game. The Arsenal game, obviously, he got the penalty,
yeah.
scored it. It's what he does, I suppose.
Mhm.
I want to ask you about captaincy. That's the main thing on my mind.
Yeah.
Just what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, so it's pretty much in my team between Palmer, Salah, and Isaac. And at the moment, I've got the captaincy on Palmer.
Okay.
Just simply because the fixture isn't the best. Well, the fixture for Isaac is the best. Wolves at home, but Newcastle have got their game week 22 game 3 days later. And
Ooh.
and then Chelsea's game is 6 days later, so they've got a bigger rest period. And I think with Isaac, he's probably the one. If Newcastle are kind of cruising that game, I guess 2-3-0 by 60 minutes. I can see him coming off early, quite possibly. With Palmer, I think he's going to play the full 90 minutes, regardless. He does a lot of the time. I don't think there's any reason to take him off early because the next game week is pretty much the same as like a normal rest period between game weeks is almost a week. So that's why it's on Palmer at the moment. It's so close, like because Isaac's got the fixture, whereas Palmer's got the minutes. He has got the home fixture as well. But Bournemouth are a good team. I think they're actually fifth for expected goals conceded, and fourth for actual goals conceded. So they've been absolutely solid. Going forward and at the back, to be honest. But Chelsea have been great going forward as well. So that's why they're one of the best attacking teams in the league. So I'm happy with the captaincy on that one, Palmer. And the thing with Salah is, yeah, we know he's been great, but Forest is a tough game away. They're one of the best defenses in the league, and that's no fluke. They've been putting up those stats since last season.
Yeah.
I guess I would say it's a good week to go against Salah.
That is a really interesting point you make. I've missed that in terms of the turnaround between fixtures. Isak compared to Palmer. Yeah. So Isak plays Wednesday night and then is in the early kickoff on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So that is. I mean, look, teams do that. Teams in the Champions League, teams in Europe do that. But that's a sort of turnaround which Klopp would complain about. He always used to hate being the early kickoff after playing midweek on the Wednesday. That is, I think, pretty much the shortest turnaround you can possibly get, other than the crazy festive period. They are both at home, but still, yeah, you're right. And also, like Isak is talisman. He is a talisman, but the goals don't always go through him for Newcastle. I mean, to be fair, they don't always go through Palmer for Chelsea. They are pretty similar in that regard, I assume, in their percentage goal involvement. But, as you said, if it's 2-0, 3-0, and Isak has 1 assist or something, he would still, you'd imagine, get a little bit of a rest there. And then, the difference is with Palmer, as you said, that turnaround is 6 days from the 14th at 7:30 to the 20th, the Monday night game. So a much bigger difference. So thank you for bringing my attention to that, because I didn't really realize that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think when it's that close, you need to take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
Because the minutes are really important when it comes to captaincy. So yeah, that's why I've got it on Palmer. But I think it's a really interesting call, because I think it's going to be really split between those three.
What are your predictions with effective ownership? If like say top mill, active managers, what do you think for those three?
Yeah, I still think Salah will be the most captained. and then in the top million, I'd say probably about I'd say maybe 140. I'd say 140% expected ownership for
Really
Salah.
that high?
Yeah, I just think people have we've seen in the past like kind of game weeks. I think even against City he was like at 120 or something. Um,
Yeah,
and then I think Palmer will probably be. I don't know. It's hard to call between. I think Palmer and will be above 100. I think Isaac might be about 100 or just below. I think he'll probably be the least captained. I just think just because of his, I think Palmer's overall ownership is higher. If you look at the top million, there's a lot of, I guess, I don't like using the word, but there's probably a lot of casual managers within that top million as well who just kind of go for Palmer
yeah.
or Salah.
Sorry, when I said top male active managers, I meant like top male, comma active managers. I'm not saying that you have to be if you're outside the top male, you're not an active manager. And as you said, if you're inside the top male, it doesn't mean you're an active manager either, or that you're good at the game. It
Yeah.
sounds a bit patronizing, but I feel like people watching know what I mean.
Yeah, and I know what you mean. I don't like saying the word casual as well, but
Yeah,
I don't know what other way to put it. It's like, people who I guess aren't as engaged as we are.
yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the rest of your team then.
Mhm.
Double Arsenal defense. Are you going to play them, or are you going to play Colwell or Mikalenko? I mean, Dyche has just been sacked about half an hour before we've started recording
Yeah.
this. What are you thinking with him? I mean,
Well,
who
I mean,
knows?
I think in terms of the Everton defense, like Dyche getting sacked is a bad thing, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know who's going to come in. Don't know what system they're going to play. At least with Dyche, we know what we're getting. We're getting no goals scored, but we're also getting fewer goals conceded as well. And I think Villa will probably score. But just looking at the clean sheet odds, I think Chelsea are above Arsenal by about a couple of percent, so they've not much in it.
ooh, okay.
Timber has got the attacking fit, so I'll just play Timber. I'll play the double Arsenal defence. I think Spurs' team is kind of a bit decimated right now as well. They've got so many injuries at the back. I think obviously with their attack, I mean, Andrew Postecoglou in the last league match, he benched Son and Maddison. So I mean, who knows if he does that again, then that's obviously much better for Arsenal's kind of clean sheet prospects. I don't think he will, but I think there's been a bit of kind of tension in the Spurs team as a whole. So yeah, happy to play a double defence. I mean, I guess if I had another free transfer there, because I think I said this last week as well. I'm trying to save as much free transfers as possible leading up to the Liverpool's double game week at 24 or 25. And if I was going to take somebody out this week, it'd probably be Timber. Just to one of the guys like Hall or Munoz, free up a bit of cash, and possibly bring in Bruno. But I think this week my team looks okay. With Semenyo, obviously with Ivanilson and Unal being out injured long term, he's probably going to be the one playing up top. So that kind of gives him a little boost in
Is that
terms of.
good? Is that a good thing? Do you think?
I mean, he's played there before. I think he played there last season when Solanke was injured for a bit, and I remember him doing quite well. But
Right. Okay.
I know what you're saying. It's not always a good thing, with wingers kind of playing as a number nine. But the way I see it is that he has played there before, and he is getting the minutes, and then I guess you could just kind of put it down to the fact that he's going to be closer to goal. He's going to have better chances. Outside that, we don't really know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, but I think it's probably. I would bet it's better for him than not. So I'm kind of happy to keep. I'm happier now to keep Semenyo than I was, I guess, last week before
Right.
I had
Okay.
the news is. But yeah, I think Bruno is the main kind of mission for my team here. But to get him, I need to do 2 free transfers, so I don't think I'll do that.
Looking at your recommended transfers, the recommendation is to roll this week.
Good.
Which you might think is obvious looking at the strength of your team, but I recorded with Gian yesterday,
Hmm.
and his team is also very strong. But the recommendation was to actually make two transfers, because there was a little bit of room for improvement. There are a couple of key players that were missing, a few X-Mins risks, I suppose, according to the AI. So that's got to give you a little bit of confidence, saying that maybe you're missing someone like a Bruno. But interestingly, I spoke about this with Gian. Bruno's predicted points are actually lower than I'd expect. That they're not close to Isaac, Palmer, or Salah this week. Just wondering, why do you think that might be?
Yeah, I did see that actually. I checked that earlier on. I think he was the fifth highest for predicted points for this week. To be honest, I'm not sure because he's got the minutes, he's got the penalties, he's got the fixture at home. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure why. I would personally think he'd be, a captaincy contender this week.
That's what I thought. But
Yeah,
then
yeah. I mean,
he could play a bit deeper. That could be the because if
yeah,
you're
there
playing
is that.
Southampton at home, you might think, okay, well, um, I don't know, Garnacho might come into the team in that left wing spot, and then who's going to play that right wing spot? Would it be Ahmad or would it be someone else that isn't Bruno, and he playing as one of the midfielders with more of a sort of solid player
Yeah.
next to him? I'm not sure.
To be fair, that's the only I said that's the only reason I'd say the predicted points would put him that low. I mean that's the only drawback with Bruno at the
Yeah,
moment. Does he get played deeper? But it's so hard to predict that. Like so can't read Amorim's mind. And you're right about Garnacho. He could come straight back in, and then Bruno drops back deeper. But still, I mean, even still playing in that deeper role, he's still going to roam forward a bit. And
surely.
that fixture for Southampton at home. They've got the worst expected goals conceded in the league. They are the worst team. They are the bottom of the league. So I guess if you've got Bruno, then it's like, he is your best. He is your best captain show.
Because I'm gonna bring him in this week, Bruno. And I was thinking I'll bring him in and captain him, but like I don't know, am I being silly by being put off by predicted points, or is there sort of method behind it? So Bruno, he is fifth highest predicted points this week, but he's on 5.7 and then Palmer's on 7.6. Like that is quite a big difference, not just in the points itself, but compared to what we often see with these predicted points. Which obviously just like a prediction that no one's going to say Palmer's predicted to get 15 or Bruno's predicted to get 12 or something. They have to sort of be averaged out, but that is quite a big difference even given that.
That is, and as I said, I was surprised by that, but I'm not entirely sure why. It could be the deeper position, but for me, if I had Bruno, I think he'd be the front runner for my captain. Despite
Really?
yeah, definitely, because
Whoa.
I mean, if you've got a Man United attacker like Bruno who's playing 90 minutes, he's on penalties, he's got a goal and assist to it, and they're playing the worst team in the league, then I think he's got to be. I think he's got to be like at least your vice captain. I think he'd like if you're in a position where you've got. I don't know if you'd be in this position of having Isaac, Palmer, and Bruno. I think it'd be Bruno like slightly ahead, and then I would Palmer and Isaac. But
Wow.
again, with those three, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Just for me personally, I think Bruno would be my slight favorite at the moment.
Sometimes I think like, and I'm not obviously not saying that not to use tools like Fantasy Football Hub. I really love using this tool, but then I do think to myself, maybe 4 or 5 years ago plus, where there wasn't really this information out there, that we didn't really have loads of access to loads and loads of data. I know there was some stuff out there, but it's incomparable compared to what we have today. What would I have done? And I think I would have captained Bruno. And then I think to myself, well, have I improved as a manager using this sort of data and being a little bit more sort of thoughtful in my decisions? Or should I stick to how I used to play the game, where I'd be like, Bruno at home to Southampton, a lot of upside there, go for that. And if you're saying that he is the best pick, in your opinion, out of Palmer, Salah, Isak, Haaland, even Brentford away, but you're saying like he is probably the top pick out of those
I'd
4
say
or
so,
5?
yeah. I would say so. I'm not saying it's like he's miles in front.
No, no, no.
I would just say he would be my favorite pick, and I think it is a good point. I think that's what models should be used for, like to give you food for thought,
Yeah,
rather than just kind of blindly copying them. Like if you were thinking about Captain Bruno and you saw he wasn't as highly ranked, it kind of makes you think, okay, why is he or why is this player ranked
yeah.
higher? I guess it just kind of furthers your decision making, but I think that's a good thing. I think that's healthy for discussion. But and then look, it's all about opinions. I guess some people would say Isaac is miles ahead, and some people would favor Palmer. I think this week, as I said, I think it's gonna be really split, which is a good thing.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I do just want to finally ask you about sort of your future plans. And I know you've said for a couple of weeks now that you're looking at 24, 25 as to when to really attack. And it's important to have transfers in the bank for that, not just for your actual 11 or 15, but for the assistant managership as well when that comes in. Have you had any more thoughts on what you're going to do over the next few game weeks, or is the general plan to roll? And do you have any thoughts on how many transfers you're planning to use for the assistant managership? Because I know it's in 3 or 4 game weeks time where it gets unlocked. Not that you have to use it then, but if you are thinking of using 2 transfers on that chip, then it's important sometimes to think about that now, right? Knowing that you're going to have to lock into those 2 moves, or at least have some sort of awareness that that could happen.
Yeah, I think if you're using the assistant manager chip, you really should be know exactly what you're doing now, because you need to know where to free up that money as well for your
That
manager.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and of which game weeks you can use it. For me, because I've got the triple captain, I'm very, very likely going to play the triple captain double game week and use the assistant manager
On
later on.
Mikalenko, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm thinking right now is, which third Liverpool to bring in. Whether it's, Alisson. There's even a bit of doubt now on Trent, just because he, obviously he didn't play well against who did they play last week again? Man
Uh,
United. Man
it was
United.
United, but
Yeah,
he was
United.
very good when he came on last night. Not
He,
defensively, but going forward, he looked
he was,
amazing.
but Bradley started, and then Liverpool got a game now in the FA Cup and against I can't remember who it is. Sorry, let me just quickly check. What's
Don't
that?
worry, I'll get it for you in a matter of seconds because
Yeah,
it is important. He could get rotated against Accrington at home.
Accrington Stanley. Yeah, so
Surely
I'm
Bradley plays that.
thinking if Trent starts that game and like plays, a good amount of minutes, then is Bradley going to get the game at Forest? It was confusing to me that he started, the Carabao Cup
I
game.
see what you
So
mean. Yeah,
yeah, because you'd expect him to start that and then be rested for the Accrington game
yeah.
and start the game against Forest. So yeah, so there's a bit of doubt there. I don't think it's much to worry about just yet, but let's see. But again, that's another kind of reason it's going to save your transfers. But yeah, it's the main reason, the main kind of focus for me now is getting the third Liverpool and possibly getting another Everton player as well.
Okay.
Let's see, and then just attack the double game week, and then just kind of take it from there.
So, what would you say to someone like me or any other manager out there that is, I've also got 2 free transfers and I'm thinking of using both this week to go for Bruno and Gordon. Do you think that's a bit like short-sighted and actually there's no need to do that? And it's not really about the specifics of the players necessarily, but it's more saying, can you still chase upside now, or is it imperative to just wait for a better opportunity where there is a higher ceiling perhaps?
Well, it all depends. Like, how many Liverpool players have you got?
I have 3.
You've got so you've got your 3 players. So I guess you're not going to use the assistant manager on slot then.
No.
Right, so you've got 3 Liverpool, so you're in a good place. So you're not going to use your assistant manager chip on slot. So you're not going to
Yeah.
have to take money out one of your Liverpool players. So with those 3, you're only probably be looking to, I guess, add one Everton player. So I think in your position you can be a bit more free with your transfers, or if somebody else is in a similar position to you. It's just my team specifically. It's set for kind of rolling right now because I've only got the 2 Liverpool players and I've got, I guess, 1 or 2 planned transfers in.
Right.
But I wouldn't let the kind of double game week, I guess, stop you from making transfers that are going to be beneficial to your team, or transfers that you need, or just rolling for the sake of it. It's just so team specific now, with the building of 5 free transfers. When we had the maximum 2 free transfers, we were all kind of making, I guess, the same moves because we weren't able to like roll that second one over.
Yeah.
Because you do it now, it's just even more team specific now than it was in past seasons.
That's true. It's made the game so much better, I think,
Yeah,
because you really can stick to a strategy that you want to go to and you're not forced to do something because of having to burn transfers, which is great.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
mean, if I had 2 free transfers this week and I was having to burn one, like I'd be getting rid of, like, for example, Timber. If somebody had the same team as me, they'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But if somebody's got the exact same team as me and has got 4 free transfers and I've got 2, then our paths just totally,
Yeah.
in different directions.
Genuinely a great addition by Fancy. I know I've said it a couple
That
of
was,
times,
yeah.
but like I would never have thought of that. So fair play to whoever came up with that.
Mhm.
Good idea. And I think 5 is a great number as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, there
agreed.
we go. Thank you very much, my friend, for your tips and advice. As always, you're slightly pushing me towards a Bruno captaincy. Gian pushed me more towards Palmer over Isak. You've now pushed me towards Bruno ahead of Palmer. And I know Abdul's frozen here, but I'm just gonna roll with it and finish it myself. And Bakar probably next week will push me to Salah. I don't know, whoever. Oh, he's back. There we go.
Yeah, sorry, you froze there for me as well.
Don't worry, it's all good. It's all good. That's the end. Good luck this week, my friend. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one.